皆さん、こんにちは. Hello! Today, for our first Japanese lesson, I want to start out by introducing you all to a little bit about greetings. So, greeting people is important in every language, of course, but it's especially important in Japanese. In fact, in Japanese schools, students are taught that it's important to greet your teachers and other students with enthusiasm. So if you don't greet someone, or if you don't respond to their greetings, or you kind of mumble your response, people might think that you're rude or not very friendly to them. So when we say greetings in English, we mostly think of things we say when we meet someone. Things like hello, how are you, etc. But in Japanese, the category is a little more broad. It includes phrases we use when we say goodbye, when we say I'm sorry, etc. So with that in mind, let's take a look at some greetings we use in Japanese and practice saying them so that we can use them when we talk to our teachers, our classmates, and our Japanese friends. If you want to see a list of these different greetings, you can look on page 30 to 32 of the textbook. Just a reminder, if you don't have the textbook yet, you can find a scan of the first chapter under Chapter 1 materials on Canvas. So the first one is really easy. Let's try to say it together. Ohayo. One more time. Ohayo. So these two O's at the end are a way of showing that the sound is extra long here, the O sound. Let's say it one more time. Ohayo. So now we have two good mornings here. What do you think is the difference between the two of them? That's right. So ohayo is for your friends and family, people that you know well or people who are close to you in age. But if you said ohayo to a teacher or to a stranger, they might be a little shocked. Instead of just ohayo, we greet them with a phrase that's a little bit longer and a little more formal. Ohayo gozaimasu. I know it's kind of a long word. Sometimes when we run into a long word like this, it's difficult to pronounce. It can help us to start at the end. So let's say it together. Mas, gozaimasu, ohayo gozaimasu, ohayo gozaimasu. So one more time, we have ohayo and ohayo gozaimasu. The next one you may have heard before. In fact, you've definitely heard it before because I used it at the beginning of this video. This is a greeting we can use in the afternoon or just generally to mean hello. Let's say it together. Konnichiwa, konnichiwa, konnichiwa. In the evening, after it gets dark or roughly around 6 p.m., we can greet someone with konbanwa, konbanwa, konbanwa. By the way, both konnichiwa and konbanwa are okay with your teachers as well as your friends. You don't need a special word to make them more formal. So those are all ways to say hello. Now let's talk about some ways to say goodbye. The one you've probably heard before is sayonara, sayonara, sayonara. This is the one that the textbook uses. This is a word that's good to know, but we don't use it that often in daily life. Usually when we say sayonara, it implies that we don't know when we'll see the person next. So although these aren't written in the textbook, these goodbyes might be more useful to you. The first one is shitsure shimasu. Again, it's maybe a little hard to say, so let's start from the end. Mas, shimasu, shitsure shimasu. We use this when we're leaving the presence of someone of higher status. So for example, when you're leaving the classroom or leaving your teacher's office, this is how you say goodbye to your teacher. Shitsure shimasu. The other one is じゃあまた。じゃあまた。じゃあまた. We use this to say goodbye to our friends and classmates. It basically means see you later. じゃあまた. And lastly, when we say good night, we can say おやすみなさい. 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 So let's review what we have so far. おはよう. おはようございます。こんにちは。こんばんは。さようなら。失礼します。じゃあまた。おやすみなさい。The next one is a way to say thank you. You've probably heard this before. ありがとう。ありがとう。ありがとう。We also have another way to say thank you. ありがとうございます。Again, from the end, because it's kind of long. ます。ございます。ありがとうございます。Now, which one do you think you would use for your teacher? That's right, it's ありがとうございます。Arigato is more casual. It's for your friends and family. Arigatou gozaimasu is for strangers, teachers, or other people of higher status. Next, we have a way to say I'm sorry or excuse me in a situation where, for example, you bump into someone or something like that. Let's say it together. すみません。すみません。すみません. And we can reply to someone apologizing to us with いいえ、いいえ、いいえ. Again, the two I's here are to show that this E sound is extra long. いいえ. Just like excuse me in English, we can also use すみません to get someone's attention. Like if we want to talk to a waiter in a restaurant, for example. So let's review what we have so far. おはよう。おはようございます。こんにちは。こんばんは。さようなら。失礼します。じゃあまた。ありがとう。ありがとうございます。すみません。いいえ。These next couple sets of greetings are ones we use inside Japanese households. Maybe some of you who like Japanese animation or dramas have heard them before. The first one is something we use when leaving the house. When you leave the house, you say, 行ってきます。行ってきます。行ってきます。And the other person can respond with 行ってらっしゃい。行ってらっしゃい。行ってらっしゃい. The idea is sort of like I'm leaving and come home safe. So, 行ってきます。行ってらっしゃい. When we come back, we say ただいま。ただいま。ただいま. I'm home. And the other person in the house will respond with おかえりなさい。おかえりなさい。おかえりなさい. Welcome home. So for example, you can see on this sign from an airport in Japan, in a lot of different languages, it has a message for foreigners. Welcome to Japan. But in Japanese, it has a message for Japanese people. Welcome home. おかえりなさい. Next are some phrases we use while eating. Again, if you've seen Japanese anime or drama, you have probably heard this phrase before. いただきます。いただきます。いただきます. This is a phrase we use to show our gratitude for the food we are given before we eat. It's a way of saying thanks, not just to the farmers who grew the food, the person who prepared it, but also to the animals and plants whose lives produce that food. Itadakimasu. When we're finished eating, we say, ごちそうさまでした. ごちそうさまでした. It's a little long, right? So, でした. さまでした. ごちそうさまでした. ごちそうさまでした. So again, let's review this second set of phrases. 行ってきます. 行ってらっしゃい. ただいま. お帰りなさい. いただきます. ごちそうさまでした. The best way to learn these phrases is to practice them. So everyone, when you see your teacher in the Zoom meeting on Friday or in the classroom next week, be sure to return her greeting to say "Ohayou gozaimasu," "Konnichiwa," and to say hello to your classmates. And maybe when you come back to your apartment or dorm or before you eat, you can practice saying "tadaima" or "itadakimasu" to yourself. It might sound silly, but it really works. Lastly, I want to talk about the greeting for introducing yourself. Some of you already saw this on Monday. Some of you will see it on Wednesday. So this is either a review or a little bit of a preview. But we start out with hajimemashite. Let's say it together. Hajimemashite. It's a little hard to say if you're not used to it. If you're having trouble, it can help to start from the end. So we have shite, mashite, hajimemashite. Hajimemashite. This is a special kind of hello we use when we meet someone for the first time. Then we move on. We want to put our name together with desu. So for example, my name is Angela Harris. This is a little hard for Japanese people to say, so I pronounce it in a Japanese way. We'll talk about the Japanese pronunciation of your name a little bit later. So I can say, Angela Harris desu. Then I want to end with a phrase we use in Japanese. It's sort of similar to how we say nice to meet you in English. The meaning is like, let's get along well. Please be friendly to me. Again, it's a little long. Mas, shimasu, onegai shimasu, yoroshiku onegai shimasu, yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. We'll practice this a lot in your in-person class and in lab, but I just want to touch on it here as well. Okay, so now that you have a good idea of how greetings work, you're ready to answer the practice questions in this week's participation activity.